Hello and welcome to This Week in Frax. I'm Sam and I'm joined by DeFi Dave and Kit, and we're going to roll through what happened in Frax this past week. It's going to be a pretty quick one, I think. It's not going to be 45 minutes, but we just have some governance stuff to talk about and a few other things. So hopping right into it, we have a couple of things up for vote this week. Most importantly, the educational incentives
Oh,
has
it
gone
passed.
out. Oh, it passed. Oh,
It
yeah.
passed.
Only,
Hallelujah. Yeah.
hallelujah.
Yeah. With 38 million votes or 38 or 40, it got the blessing. So it passed. Very excited. We're going to get that going. Next step there is we're going to go create a Google form. People can go and submit, what they create, whether it's an infographic, an article, thread, even a dashboard. And these will be available monthly. We're going to lay it all out for you. So really exciting stuff. Going to get the community more involved. In getting Frax out to the masses. So
Congratulations. I know you put a lot of work into that one,
thank you.
Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That I mean, like this was like originally part of a massive grant at the beginning of the year, but I understand why they wanted separate, so I'm like fine. And then I was like, all right, now's the time to do it, and here we go. So
uh, in the oh wow, did not make quorum. Actually, the next thing we want to talk about was also a vote that I put up, which was for authorizing matching Frax with the ARB airdrop to create ARB Frax liquidity. And while this one had 99% for it, notably, there were a couple of people who did not vote for this. And so it did not meet quorum, which is strange. I wonder why that did not meet quorum.
wait, well, how many votes did it have?
5.9 million. So we're like 1.3 million short.
Ah,
Uh, Maybe it just went up at a bad time, right? Um,
yeah.
I think I'm going to have to message he who shall not be named and see what happened. There must be something going on with it. I don't know why. I don't know why this wouldn't pass. Right? We have all this art. We should be doing something with it, right? Um, but
Especially if we have like Arbon Fraxland.
yeah, and speaking of Arbor and Fraxland, that's also up for vote this week as well too. That's currently active. Again, it has 5.9 million votes. Hopefully, somebody comes through and pulls it over the line. But yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting how we didn't get that last 27 million votes, which usually comes through. So selective processing. Uh, Other than that, there's a bunch of other stuff to bring Frax, FPI, Frax shares to ZK EVM, Polygon EVM still active. I believe those are wrapping up today. Yeah, those will close in just a few hours. And then that leaves us with one of the more, I guess, contentious. Like last time that we talked about this, about the StakeDao vote, it was we thought it would go through, right? Because StakeDao is on pretty good terms with Frax, and the communities like each other. But based on the current voting right now, 17 million Frax shares has voted against this, and that means it's pretty much dead in the water at this point, unless C2TP comes through with his vote. So yeah, those StakeDao guys are not going to get unlocked without a penalty. So it looks like it's going to be back to the drawing board and figuring out like a rage quit tax for them to get out.
What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, so Drake was talking about this in the forums. He had like three tweets, or not tweets. Not everything's tweet. 3 replies in the forums, and he essentially just said like, this proposal puts the protocol behind the profits of the lockers. The protocol paid users to lock. The users took on the risks that they lock, and one of those risks was that StakeDao deprecates this strategy. So everybody's hurt, and the only people who benefit are the ones who took their 100% APY and now want to run instead, doing what they agreed to do. And there's a couple more things that people came back, but really, like, they're trying to say goodwill is enough to unlock it. But honestly, like, I think some stuff that the StakeDao people left out was that the funds will remain in three, like I believe it's 3 pool or Frax base pool, right? which has been earning like 2 to 3% a year, and then there's an additional 2% on top of that they'll earn as well too. So like,
Oh, so
even
it's not like nothing.
no, yeah, and I think this is probably one of the reasons why it didn't get unlocked. It's still making 5%. It's just locked, and
Oh, so that's not even bad.
Dude, that's healthy.
no, but
That's
yeah,
how. Yeah,
uh,
I
but
thought that like not they
mhm.
deprecated the the option, and it just wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, well, they deprecated it, but it's still making yield. Is
Oh,
the short answer. Look, this thing is really contentious because almost 99% of the LP here is locked in for 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I'm just taking a look at the staking page right now. So, um,
oh,
you know,
so yeah.
it's not like everyone who took part in this strategy is locked in for 3 years.
If only there was a way to trade in and out of Lock's liquidity.
Man, what's the pitch?
I think what's going to have to be done. Yeah, I know. What's going to have to be done here is they're going to have to go back and add a rage quit tax, and based on the last
A
proposal,
universal rage quit tax.
that was said in chat, but no, that can't be done. It's got to be a DAO vote. It's got to be a slow and arduous process, and it has to be singular for each one because you can't just have a 20% tax on.
What if
giving
it's like
out.
50%?
It doesn't really make sense at that point. You can would you take a 50% loss to get money that you're going to get back?
I guess like a comparison of that is like, let's say like you could trade Lock liquidity on an open market, and it's like opens up in 3 years, but someone's offering you half that.
Yeah,
That's the equivalent.
I mean, look, the common rule, or at least the rule that that Sam pretty much stated, it's not official, but it's kind of the thing that was said in Telegram was like Sam just wants all the Frax shares paid back. Like the protocol paid money out. These people are locked in for 3 years. If they want to get out, they should pay back the money. That was the response to the Imstable guys, and it's probably still the same response here.
People want to have their cake and eat it too.
Exactly. So like all they have to do is just figure out how much Frax shares was paid out during that time period, discount it maybe 20% and pay back 80 to 90% of the Frax shares that was taken, and then offer the rage quit. Maybe some people don't want to get out, right? But that pool is still earning 3.5% a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not, and that's in Frax shares as well too, like 3%. So
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I was thinking maybe instead of a tax, if that's flat, what if that tax is equivalent to paying back 90% of the FXS that was paid out? Like if you're willing to take that, payback would just be subtracted from whatever balance from the rage quit to market buy FXS for the protocol.
Yeah. I think it's just going to have to go back to the drawing board, and they're going to have to come back.
I'm sure some creative solution could be figured out, because there's going to be rage quits again in the future. People always want like something like this to go through for the reasons.
Yeah. So maybe that's maybe that's something to propose, is like you want to rage quit, like pay back all the Frax shares that was ever paid out to this pool over the life of the pool, right? So that makes it even more. It's like it has to be the life of the pool, right? Because like for a pool like Frax-based pool or something, like you could never have a rage quit for that, right? But for other ones that have been around for like a year, like this one's been around for 8 months, and then it's getting unlocked, or like then it's getting deprecated. Like just figure out how much was paid over the past few months and pay back.
Yeah, and Flywheel could be the rage quit court. People can come and complete their case here.
Rage quit court, yeah.
So the next thing that's up, also could be contentious, is that Bunni is back asking for gauges for their Frax USDC and FrxETH for their Bunni Pro stuff. So for those that don't know, Bunni is a pseudo governance layer that sits on top of Uniswap v3, and essentially chooses pre-selected ranges for you to deposit funds into, and then they have a VE locking system. So they have previously tried to get I believe it wasn't a gauge, it was like an AMO strategy for what they were doing. That one got shut down. Now they're coming back for the gauges for Frax at USDC and FrxETH and WETH.
I guess FrxETH WETH makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So this one, did they already pass? Oh no, this one just finished, and I believe both of them passed.
They both passed.
Yeah. Hey, look, they got enough votes. It's interesting who didn't vote. We'll, leave it at that. You can go take a look to see who didn't vote on this strategy. But
I mean, they're just gauges.
Gauges.
We want more. It's in the interest of the protocol to have more. AMOs are a completely different thing because it's
yes,
it's much more complex.
It's balance sheet risk.
It's balance sheet risk, exactly.
Yeah.
But with a gauge, it's like you're promoting liquidity. We want that. Like we want people to lock up in the Bunni pool.
Yeah.
So
I was listening to the Chopping Block today, and the guys were talking about like DAOs and decentralization stuff. And, we always talk about like the stuff that's happening over at Maker and just what looks like infighting and stuff. But really, it's a DAO, right? There's like political factions who are like fighting with money in the form of tokens to get the votes that they want, right? And so, Frax has yet to have major parties. We have like minor disagreements over things, but like
that'll come.
Yeah, I know, you're right. But we don't. There's not like different factions, right? Inside of Frax yet.
I mean, what would there be factions about?
That's a good question, right?
I think before the 100% collateralization ratio would have been over the collateralization ratio, but like now that's not going to happen because it's been decided. But
I think it's in Maker, Rune has taken like quite a crazy shift from just having single collateral, like ETH single collateral for DAI, right, to this like multi-collateral thing. And now they're adding in like they're fighting climate change, and they're going to be investing in like they're essentially turning into this like fund
commercial bank,
right? It's strange. It's just not what it started at, right? So like I could like the vision has changed at Maker, but you could argue that like the vision within Frax is kind of it's not changed radically enough to spin off political parties yet. I don't know. Maybe we'll get there, but I think everybody pretty much seems on board with Sam's vision. So, we don't
smooth. I mean, that's important, especially early on.
Yeah, exactly. Until we hit significant size, and then Sam could just disappear and never be seen again, and we
gives it to the community.
Exit
to the community, right?
Exit to the community.
I mean, maybe it'll probably be something like what Vitalik has done, where Vitalik, he probably isn't hands-on with Ethereum, day in and day out, but he's still, in the background architecting the direction and being like, oh, we got the merge, the splurge, the whatever else is like on the pipeline.
Yeah. I wonder if Frax gets to a point where like builders got to build, right? And when you get to late stage incumbency, what do you do, right? Like when Frax is already set up and all the primitives work and everything's been given over to governance, like you kind of probably have to go start something new, maybe a third party thing that like leverages Frax and adoption, right? At that point.
Maybe start a payment stablecoin.
Payment stablecoin. There we go.
A new stablecoin. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done with FPI.
Exactly. So that's pretty much it. There's some other stuff that happened in chat. You can find that in the newsletter. We'll have the best of Telegram and the best of Twitter. The best of Twitter might be a little bit messed up because Substack came out with his own version of Twitter, and then Elon took away their embedded.
I heard that.
So it's quick this week, guys. Not a lot to talk about. Maybe that's good.
All right, so it's gonna be a lot next week.
Yeah, the Shanghai too next week as well too. So it's like, oh man, Chapella. I totally like that. The guys call it Chapella. There's a Shanghai and Capella together. Yeah, that's cool.
Actually, there's a really great in the best of Twitter. I included the deep dive analysis on how the fool is. Actually, we can talk about this. Let's talk about this before we go.
Let's talk about this.
So there was an analysis of the upcoming full withdrawals. Like how much are people going to full withdraw in the upcoming thing, right? Like once Shanghai comes through, you know, what's the best case, worst case, right? And let me pull this up just so we can see, because I thought this was interesting, right? And I can ask you guys, maybe we can take some bets on this. You know, we can buy beers for each other. But once the Shanghai upgrade comes around, how much FrxETH gets unstaked, right? And this was the document that was included. So at the top, the best case for Lido is 0.55, right? Worst case for Lido is 40% of all Lidos getting unstaked. Okay. We'll just move on to Frax, right? Because that's what everybody wants to see. His like base case is that 4% of all Frax is going to be unlocked, and that at worst case,
so much higher than everyone else.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. In the best case, right? Like 22% worst case. So like our worst case is like less than Lido's, but our like best case is still 4%. That's 8 times worse than Lido.
Where did these numbers come from?
Yeah, like what is this based on?
Let's see. Based on our assumptions and simulation, maybe it's just the model that they came up with. I don't know.
But what is the model?
Yeah, what is this?
The rate at which people are swapping between ETH and STETH, or ETH and FrxETH. I guess if you were to
it's just about it's just the withdrawals. It's like how many people are going to withdraw from FrxETH when withdrawals are live, right?
Yeah, but then the only way to kind of simulate that is from the volume of these pools, right? Because that it literally symbolizes is a proxy for withdrawals. People can't wait to swap out of STETH for ETH.
When we do FrxETH on FrxCheck, it's gonna be interesting to see how the numbers change, because you can only deposit, but now when you have withdrawals, like how is that gonna shift?
Exactly. Yeah. So in the in neutral case, they think that the queue's only going to be 45 days. In the worst case, it'll be about 103 days, which is faster than I originally thought. I thought it was going to take like 6 months to.
Yeah, it was going to take a half a year.
Yeah.
I think net deposit goes up for FrxETH. That's my take. Net deposit goes up.
Yeah. Yeah, net deposit is going to go way up. So just to wrap up about some of the stuff that we published on Flywheel this week, we got a really nice interview with James from Manifold Finance to talk about MEV-ETH. And then additionally as well, we have our interview with DeFi Surfer that just came out. So, and we'll just leave with this soon. Sam Kaz, Frax Finance V3.
You guys like that?
Harder 3. I love that.
This one's good.
V3.
This one's good.
I only think in little Wayne memes. And if you want even more memes, make sure you follow us on Flywheel DeFi on Twitter. And if you want all the alpha and then some, subscribe, hit that bell button on YouTube, leave us a comment, give us a like. And if you enjoy the conversation, join us on Telegram at Flywheel DeFi. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFiDave22.
You can follow me at 0xcapital_K.
And I'm at traders_insight.
And we'll see you next week.